Why do brilliant strategies fail? In fact, why do even just the good ones fail? Typically, it's people fail the strategy. But reality in the world today is intention and follow-through have a disconnect between them. We've got a $40+ billion industry that makes more than half its money on this human fact. That's the diet and exercise industry. They make more than half their money on people not following through. Because look, there wouldn't be so many diets if people followed the first one and stuck with it. You know, when people sign up for gyms, more than 40% of them don't ever show up. Another 20% only show up for a little while, according to the gyms that I've talked to. We are not very good at intending to do something and then actually doing it. So how do we fix this? Well, I call it radical accountability, and here's a picture of what radical accountability looks like. And what you can do is, I'm going to talk about just one part of this today, the most important part, these three triangles. I call this area the knowledge-action divide when it's not done well. There's a disconnect between knowing what I need to do and actually doing it. The way we can fix this is by making sure that we have all three elements to ensure follow-through on a great strategy. That first one, as you'll see, is commitment. We need to solicit commitments to doing what's essential. With your recruiting team, there should be a conversation as to what's the core stuff that we should be doing each day. I knew as a recruiter that if I recruited a couple of candidates every day, whether I needed them or not, I was building my talent inventory and I was filling open jobs. If I recruited a couple of candidates, if I submitted several of those to hiring managers and I set up a couple of interviews, I would fill at least 4 jobs every month, usually more than that, at least 6 to 12 on most occasions. I knew that that was the essential stuff that I needed to do. So there needs to be a level of commitment first. Second is knowledge. I need to make sure everybody understands how to keep the commitment. Sometimes it's knowledge of how to do it. Sometimes it's knowledge of how to overcome the problems with that. Sometimes the knowledge is I need practical practice. I need to practice the knowledge I have so I can apply it. But making sure that people are fully equipped, they have the know-how to get it done. So we've got commitment, we've got knowledge, and now lastly, action. We've got to support people in planning actions to keep the commitment and then hold them to those actions. This is where strategies often fail, and leaders in particular fail the strategy. They solicit commitments, but they don't get specific. There's no action plan. You know, people say, oh, I'm just going to make more phone calls to find more candidates, but they don't define how many, and nobody holds them to that. To them, it was 2 more phone calls, but really it required 20. But nobody figured out that level of action was needed and held them to it. There has to be a sustainable action plan put in place, and people must know what that is and be held to it. That's how you close the knowledge-action divide. You make sure you have commitment, you have knowledge, you have action, and you hold people to that action. When you do that, you eliminate the root cause, the central focal piece of why strategies fail. This is why I was a great recruiter. This is why I was good at managing recruiters. And this is how your recruiting team or your HR team or your staffing team can be really good as you have a plan, you hold people to that plan, you make up for the failings in human nature, that gap between intention and action. You follow a very, very simple plan. That's radical accountability. I hope you'll implement it today. It's that simple, and when you do, you make everybody more successful. Candidates have jobs much more quickly. The company has who they need, and your employees are getting promotions, they're getting accolades because they're doing a job, and the job's well done. That's radical accountability. I hope you'll implement it today.